well as safe shots on goal for some of these goalies. Give me both teams to score in the first period. That's coming in at plus 185 compared to the over 1.5 that is at minus 120. Okay, you guys ready? Let's make some frickin' money. It's time for Pocket with Jo. Good morning and happy Saturday, everyone. Jo here with SportsGrid. Welcome to Pocket with Jo over here on SportsGrid TV. I appreciate each and every one of you for being here today and every day. We've got a loaded slate to go over 12 games out there on the ice with a ton of games on that second night of a back-to-back. As unlike normal, because of American Thanksgiving, we did see so many games in action yesterday. And now before we get started, I just want to say the betting community lost a great man yesterday in Mitch Wilson of Pick Dogs. I want to send my deepest sympathies to his wife and to his friends and family, and to all of you that followed Mitch on the daily. He was a huge part of this betting community, and my deepest sympathies go out to each and every one of you. In that regards, that's all I'm going to say on that matter today. It's emotional, even though Mitch and I haven't talked for over the last year, but still a very emotional time for everyone in the betting community. Let's jump into the first game. Let's talk some freaking hockey, guys. The Montreal Canadiens taking on the New York Rangers. It will kick off at 1 p.m. Eastern. Now, all odds are over here on FanDuel, you guys. So let's jump straight into it. The Montreal Canadiens at plus 150 here. On the money line, they're on the first night of a back-to-back, and they have the Boston Bruins on deck tomorrow. This is a team that they really look ahead to, but they have played tight battles here versus the New York Rangers. Rangers on a second night of a back-to-back. They're minus 184 here on the money line. Total is sitting at 6.5. Minus 110 to the over or the under at 6.5. Sam Montague expected in net here for the Montreal Canadiens, and Jonathan Quick is expected for the New York Rangers. Now, Jonathan Quick, when you look at his overall numbers versus the Montreal Canadiens, they have been strong. He's got a .921 save percentage, but when we really start to break it down, looking at his last five, because he's played, it feels like a million games versus the Montreal Canadiens in his career. The last 5 games versus Montreal, he's allowed 3 goals in 4 of those and 4 goals in 1. Montreal has the team total today of 2.5. I'm expecting 3 goals out of the Montreal Canadiens. I'm going to take them over 2.5 goals at minus 122. Who do I think can get on the board? Well, Kyle Caulfield has been put up on that top line again with Nick Suzuki as he started to get those shots on goal. We'll see if it really can translate into those goals, but I do think you look at him for his point, you look at him for his anytime goal today, I think it will in this one. He is getting those high danger shots, those high danger scoring abilities. So the New York Rangers have won their last 7 games on the second night of a back-to-back. And when we look at Mika Zibanejad here, this is a game that he can score. You look at Mika in the last 3 games versus the Montreal Canadiens, he has been able to put up a goal. Mika Zibanejad on this season has struggled. We know that. I'm going to look at Mika Zibanejad for the anytime goal here for the New York Rangers to be able to get things done. Now, these teams have already matched up this season back in October. The New York Rangers won, and they won a big 7-2. They've also won the last 4 meetings. So while I think Montreal will get 3 goals, I still think this is one where the Rangers back at home with Mika showing up, Jonathan Quick in net should be able to win this. I would expect them to win this 5-3, but I just don't want it to be a case of them only winning at 5-3 because of an empty netter and then we're stressing at the end. So I will look at just the Montreal's team total over 2.5 because of how they played against Jonathan Quick. The Carolina Hurricanes versus the Florida Panthers. We saw this matchup yesterday. So the Florida Panthers were able to get a huge win in Carolina. Now they're back in Florida. I still think we look at Florida here to get the win. This is a pick 'em straight up. Everyone expecting the Carolina Hurricanes to bounce back off that loss. Rare loss at home. This team has been strong on the road as well. I'm not buying into it. They put up a goalie from the AHL, Yanni Peteretz, coming up from the AHL. I butchered his name. I know I have. The first name is Yanni, P-E-R-E-T-S, and I just don't know how you say it correctly. So Peteretz coming out here from the AHL. He has come into one game. He didn't get the start. He was limited time before going back down to the AHL. I just don't know if I can trust him versus the Florida Panthers. We know how strong this team can be. Now, we know defensively the Carolina Hurricanes are going to give that protection to him. I could see this one ending in a lower scoring game. We look at Seth Jarvis for Carolina. That combo with Seth Jarvis and Sebastian Aho has been cashing for us. Seth Jarvis able to get a goal in each of the last three for Carolina since coming back from injury. So he's been nice and strong. If you just want to ride Seth Jarvis and Sebastian Aho parlayed again together for that anytime point, that has been straight money. I'm going to be riding it till it stops working out there. I think you could also look at Seth in this one to get one on Spencer night. Here, he's going to be hungry to get the win in this one. Now, we have seen Florida struggle against the Metro at home to cover that puck line, not able to do so in the last 7. But you don't need to take a puck line on the Florida Panthers in this. It's -110. I'm going to take the Florida Panthers at -110. So that is where I'm going with that. I'm going to look at the Washington Capitals taking on the New Jersey Devils. The Washington Capitals are +136. Underdog rolling into this one. The New Jersey Devils at -164. This total sitting at 6.5, -124 to the under 6.5. I didn't get there, and I'm really shocked that this one is juiced to the under. It's +102 to the over 6.5. We look at how strong both of these teams have been offensively, and you look at both of these teams, they are off of overtime or off of games yesterday. Overtime here for the Washington Capitals. They beat the Isles in OT 5-4. They killed it. I had the Islanders on the money line. I won that plus money with them at home, not able to shut things down once it went to OT. I knew it was dead in the water as soon as it went to overtime, because I trust the Caps more in that situation. The Islanders are a great live betting team. They're not a great team to just jump on late. So the Isles they beat the Isles 5-4, and then the New Jersey Devils here, they beat the Red Wings on the road yesterday, so they've had to travel back home as well. That was a 5-4 win. So I expect this one to go over the total of 6.5. We're getting plus money 6-3 and 1 in the last 10 to the over between these two teams. The Philadelphia Flyers taking on the St. Louis Blues. We saw the Flyers be able to pull off that upset win at home over the New York Rangers yesterday, winning that 3-1, giving the Rangers another loss. This team lost, 5 in a row, 6 in a row now for the Rangers. The Blues here, though, I think are the stronger team in this matchup. They have the rest advantage. So current odds on FanDuel, the Philadelphia Flyers are +112. The St. Louis Blues at -134, total of 5.5. I think the Blues can get it done at home. I'm not sure I'm willing to lay that puck line for much, but I think it's worth a sprinkle, -1.5 at +186. I do believe that they can win this versus the Flyers 3-1. Really limiting the Flyers' ability to get those goals in this game. So if you're looking for someone who's been really stepping up for the St. Louis Blues, Jordan Kyrou, Jake Neighbors, those two are my go-to here, and Robert Thomas. I really do think between the three of them, you could even combine their point combinations. Jordan Binnington in net for the St. Louis Blues today. It's a short price for them here at home. Now, it has moved down. Money has been coming in on Philadelphia after they got that win last night. It was a -140 favorite here for the St. Louis Blues, now down at -134. I still think there is value here. Now, the Flyers have won the last 5 on the road versus the central opponents, but with that game versus the Rangers last night, I just don't think they get it done. The Calgary Flames then take on the Pittsburgh Penguins. Now, if you watched any of the Columbus Blue Jackets and Calgary Flames game yesterday, you know how very emotional that was for both of those teams. Now, Calgary did end up taking the loss. They will play again December 3rd in Calgary, and that's going to be just as emotional back home this way for the Calgary Flames players. I think this is a hard one here versus the Pittsburgh Penguins. I'm not sure if their hearts and their minds will be in this game, and I do think the Pittsburgh Penguins really step up and capitalize on that fact. Both of these teams did play yesterday. We saw the Pittsburgh Penguins be able to get the win over the Boston Bruins on the road, so they've had to travel home as well. But this team on the second night of a back-to-back, it's held true into this season. Last season, they were strong on the second night of a back-to-back. They kind of bring that momentum in. and they've been strong this season. They've won their last 8 on the second night of a back-to-back as a favorite. So I expect them to continue rolling nice and strong in this game. So give me the Pittsburgh Penguins at -120. That total sitting at 6.5. I could see it squeaking over that total. We know the Penguins have allowed a lot of goals, and Calgary, Dan Vladar in net tonight because Justin Wolf was in last night, and we have seen him allow more goals out there. The Ottawa Senators then take on the LA Kings. Now, the Ottawa Senators are the more rested team in this one. We saw the LA Kings in action last night. They're -125 favorite in this one, +104 for the Ottawa Senators, total of 6.5, total of 5.5, -124 to the over. I think we're going to get the upset. I think the Ottawa Senators can roll in to LA and get the win. They've covered the puck line in their last 4 meetings versus the LA Kings, so they've played really tight games. They have been dogs in those ones, and I do think they play another tight one, but the value is on them here, especially with the Kings. You look at this is their third game in 4 nights. So this team has had so much action out there. They played on Wednesday. Of course, we had Thursday off. They played on Friday and today out here. So yeah, third game in 4 nights. I think tired legs will come into play. And Ottawa, just with that rest advantage, I think it is a great place to look at them. If we're looking at Ottawa, who I think is going to score the points on David Rittich, the goaltender in here for the LA Kings, I would look at Batherson and I would look at Brady Tkachuk to really step up in this one to get those points and those anytime goals on the board. The Toronto Maple Leafs then take on the Tampa Bay Lightning. Austin Matthews is back in action for this game. I'm glad they waited till after the break to reactivate him in the lineup. Now they're -140 favorite here. The Tampa Bay Lightning up +116. Total 6.5. It is +102 to the over 6.5, -128 to the under. We know Toronto's trying to be a more lockdown team on the defensive side of things, trying to change from just being a highly explosive offensive team and allowing that defense to lapse. And I do think we could see this one being a lower scoring one. I'm nervous to take it, though, because I think we could see that empty netter here by the Toronto Maple Leafs to push it over that total. I'm going to take the Leafs on the money line at -140, but I'm also going to look at the Toronto Maple Leafs on the puck line, -1.5 at +172. I'm also going to hit Austin Matthews now that he's back in that lineup for that anytime goal at +120. Now, if you want to look at someone for the Lightning who has been lighting things on fire, it is Anthony Cirelli. He scored at least 1 goal in 7 of the Lightning's last 8 games, so he's been really coming to life. But we look at the Tampa Bay Lightning, and we look at them on the puck line on the second night of a back-to-back, which is the situation they're in. They beat the Predators last night in overtime 3-2, so that was a hard battle last night. Now they've got to take on a hard Toronto Maple Leafs team. They've had to travel back home as well. On the second night of a back-to-back, they are 0-5 on that puck line. They've lost their last 5 as a dog off an overtime game as well. So not a situation where you want to back the Lightning. So that puck line -1.5 at +172 for the Leafs, I think, is a fantastic way to go. Okay, the Buffalo Sabres then take on the New York Islanders. The Sabres are the underdog on the road, which is really interesting to me. They're rolling in at +106, and yes, this team did play last night. We saw that loss to the Vancouver Canucks. It was a 4-3 loss there for the Buffalo Sabres. Now they're on the road taking on the Islanders. The Islanders coming in at -128. This total is sitting at 5.5, -122 to the over 5.5. I'm not going to take the full game total either way of it. Buffalo's averaging right around 3 goals per game. They've been stepping up offensively. I like their playmakers on both sides of the puck. James Reimer expected in net tonight. Sorokin here for the Isles. What I'm going to do is I'm going to look, because we've seen Buffalo struggle as a dog on the second night of a back-to-back. They've lost their last 6, so it's not a good situation for them. But their defense has been stepping up. James Reimer, I think, steps up. The Isles haven't been scoring a lot of goals. So I'm going to take the Islanders team total under 2.5. The under 2.5 is coming in at plus 136. Searching for that plus money in this one. I do think they can be limited in this game. The Nashville Predators taking on the Minnesota Wild. We know how strong the Wild are at locking down on the defensive side of things. The Nashville Predators really need to be able to come out and do the same. Now, they lost to the Tampa Bay Lightning in overtime last night, 3-2 at home. And we saw the Minnesota Wild beat the Chicago Blackhawks, but not blow them out of the water. They get the lead, then they lock down. They won that one 3-2. These two teams play in tight games. The last 6 games have been within a goal. So we have seen the underdog cover that puck line. The underdog in the majority of those has been the Nashville Predators. So just give me the under 5.5. I expect a lower scoring back and forth defensive battle between these two with not a lot of scoring. Saros expected here for the Nashville Predators and Gustafsson for the Minnesota Wild. If it's not broke, let's not fix it, you guys. The San Jose Sharks are in action again versus Seattle. Now, we saw this matchup yesterday. The Sharks dominated. They got the win. We were able to cash on those player props. The Sharks are plus 168 here on the money line. $2 favorite for the Seattle Kraken, total of 5.5. I'm going straight back to the Sharks. Give me the Sharks on the money line at plus 186. Plus 1.5 on the puck lines, too highly juiced today at minus 154. I think they should be able to win this one. You look at Seattle on the second night of back-to-back. They've lost their last 5. They're not strong on the second night of a back-to-back. This Sharks team has proven that they can step up. They can get these wins. I think the Sharks absolutely do it again. Some of these games, we're just flying through these games today, you guys. It has been one of those days this morning, but we'll go into more detail in the games tomorrow. The Edmonton Oilers and the Colorado Avalanche. Stuart Skinner expected here for Edmonton. Georgiev expected for Colorado. Now, both teams on a back-to-back. Both teams having to travel to Colorado to play tonight. The Stars beat Colorado yesterday 5-3. And then we saw Edmonton beat Utah last night in overtime 4-3. Defense and goaltending are going to be tired here. I'm expecting that letdown. I'm expecting those goals to come. We know the power play absolutely is fire here for the Colorado Avalanche. So I'm expecting those power play points. Nathan MacKinnon really has been fire. It's Nathan MacKinnon against Connor McDavid. You guys know this is what we all want to see. We want to see them trade back goals, and I think that's exactly what happens in this one. Nathan MacKinnon, 7 goals and 28 assists on the season. And Connor McDavid, I'm forgetting his numbers. He's right up there as well. You know how strong Connor McDavid is. I'm going to look for both teams to score in the first period. That's coming in at great plus money. I'm also going to look at over 1.5. So that is where I'm going to go. I'm going to go over 1.5 in the first period, both teams to score in the first period. Now, Edmonton's been strong on the puck line. They've been able to cover the puck line on the road, winning their last 5. If you want to take a big gamble here, Edmonton up 2-1 in the first period. We cash the puck line on Edmonton. We cash the first period over 1.5, and we cash both teams to score in the first period. It feels like the right way to go. It really does. I could see it playing out. I think the Avs at the end of the day do get the win. All of their big players stepped up yesterday. Nathan MacKinnon, Lankaken, Cale Makar, just fire out there for them. So I think Colorado ultimately gets this win at home. You guys, I'm seeing all your comments come in. We're going to address them in just a second. I got to roll through this hockey. It's a hard subject to talk about. Firstly, hockey. Utah versus the Vegas Golden Knights. The Vegas Golden Knights at home have struggled to cover that puck line, you guys. They haven't covered the puck line in their last 4 home games, but I do think this is one. They're too juicy on the money line, coming in at minus 162, plus 134 for the Utah Hockey Club, total 6.5. You have to look at Vegas on that puck line. Minus 1.5 on the puck lines, coming in at plus 152. And I think it's such a solid way to go. I think they're going to have their way with Utah tonight. Utah's coming off such a hard game in that loss to Edmonton last night, 4-3 in OT. Vegas beat the Jets last night at home, so they haven't had that travel like Utah has had to have to come to Vegas today. Home dog as a home dog. They were a home dog last night. I still don't understand why this team was a home dog to the Winnipeg Jets. I took them reverse puck line. You guys know that. I like the 1.5 as well as the money line. Of course, the money line cashed. The reverse puck line didn't, as they only won it by 1 goal. So I'm going to look again at the puck line here for the Vegas Golden Knights, laying 1.5 goals at plus 152. Yes, they haven't covered in the last 4, but this is a team that I trust in to get the win here at home over Utah on the second night of a back-to-back. So that is where I'm going to go with that one. Again, let's do the recap, and then I'm going to address your comments here that are coming in. I absolutely want to address them. I just can't in the middle of talking hockey because it's such an emotional topic. Okay. We're at the 20-minute mark, you guys. Let's do the recap of this for everyone just joining me here for the recap. Thank you so very much for joining me here today. The Montreal Canadiens versus the New York Rangers. I do think the Montreal Canadiens will be able to score on Jonathan Quick. When we look at the last 5 games versus Jonathan Quick, Montreal has been able to put up those goals, 3 or more in all 5 of those. Give me Montreal's team total over 2.5. Give me Cole Caulfield for his points and his goals tonight. I think Cole Caulfield is the difference maker, especially at that 5-on-5. We've seen the New York Rangers win their last 7 games on the second night of a back-to-back. I expect them to win here, and if Montreal goes up first, I think this is a great live betting situation to come back in on the Rangers, so keep that in your mind when you're watching this game. Mika Zibanejad, I will take for the anytime goal. He's been strong to get those goals versus Montreal. The Carolina Hurricanes and the Florida Panthers. Carolina has brought up a goaltender from the AHL that has had limited time in the NHL. So I do think Florida wins the second game of a back-to-back versus Carolina. They beat Carolina yesterday in Carolina. I think they continue to roll here at home. A minus 110 on the money line. And I really do think you could take the puck line here for the Florida Panthers, minus 1.5. Get that great money. Seth Jarvis and Sebastian Aho have been fire. That connection between those 2 players out there on the ice for Carolina. Their points keep cashing when we parlay them together. Seth Jarvis has got a goal in the last 3. So do what you want with that. Matthew Tkachuk, Barkov, those will be the players I'll be looking at for Florida. The Washington Capitals taking on the New Jersey Devils. I think we see the goals coming in this one. Charlie Lindgren and Jake Allen in net. We're getting plus money to the over, and these teams trend so highly to that over when they play against each other. Over 6.5 at plus 104. The Philadelphia Flyers are on the second night of a back-to-back after beating the Rangers last night 3-1 at home. They travel here to St. Louis. St. Louis is rested. I think the rest advantage will come, and St. Louis will be able to get the win. The juice is dropping, minus 134 on the St. Louis Blues. I trust in Jordan Binnington, Jake Neighbors, Jordan Kyrou, and Robert Thomas. I would parlay all 3 of them for a point today. I think they come in. The Calgary Flames versus the Pittsburgh Penguins. I think Calgary is very emotional right now. I wouldn't put my money on them with Dan Vladar in net. You could look at a team total, though, of Calgary to the over. I think the goals are coming between these 2 teams here tonight. Novakovic expected here for the Pittsburgh Penguins. The Penguins have been strong on the second night of a back-to-back, winning their last 8 as a favorite on the second night of a back-to-back. I'll take the Penguins on the money line at minus 120. The Ottawa Senators versus the LA Kings. The Kings have got to be tired. The 3rd game in 4 days. And I think the Ottawa Senators, with the rest advantage, not playing yesterday, has the ability to come in and get the win. They play tight games versus the LA Kings, covering the puck line as a dog in their last 4. So I'm going to look at the the Ottawa Senators here to pull off the upset and get the win with that slight plus money. The Toronto Maple Leafs then have Austin Matthews back in the lineup. I expect him to come out nice and hot. Versus the Tampa Bay Lightning, I'll take Austin Matthews for the anytime goal at plus 120. I think you look at the Leafs straight up to get the win, and you look at the Leafs to cover that puck line, laying 1.5 at plus 172. Cirelli has been strong for the Tampa Bay Lightning. He's been scoring those goals, scoring a goal in 7 of the last 8 games out there. But on a second night of a back-to-back, Tampa has fallen flat on their faces, unable to cover that puck line in their last 5 on the second night of a back-to-back. The Leafs minus 1.5 at plus 172, I think, holds so much value today. The Buffalo Sabres taking on the New York Islanders. I'm going to just fade the Islanders and their ability to get those goals. I'm taking their team total under 2.5 goals at plus 136. Could they win this 2-1? Absolutely, they could, but I would think Buffalo would get the win here. Buffalo is averaging right around 3 goals per game. I know Sorokin is in net for the Isles today. James Reimer here for the Buffalo Sabres, but I have a feeling that no matter what happens, the Isles stay under 2.5 goals. And the Nashville Predators versus the Minnesota Wild. The Wild are phenomenal at locking down their opponents and really holding these games into lower scoring ones. Give me the under 5.5. They have played in tight battles between these two, so it's too juiced on the Wild on the money line, and I'm not getting enough value between Nashville with that plus money, so I'm going to stay off the side in this one. I think it's just a lower scoring 3-2 win for one of these teams, the team that doesn't make the mistake. The San Jose Sharks, out of principle, we have to play them again. I'm taking the San Jose Sharks straight up on the money line. Now, juice is dropping on this. It's now plus 168. It was plus 180 earlier in the day. The puck line, if you can still get value under minus 140, I think is a great way, but I don't think you need it. Seattle, these teams played yesterday. The Sharks dominated. Seattle now at home for this one, because they played in San Jose last night. They'll get last change, but this team on the second night of a back-to-back is not strong. They've lost their last 5 in this situation. The Edmonton Oilers and the Colorado Avalanche, with both of these teams having to travel back to Colorado, I'm expecting that letdown in goaltending. Stuart Skinner and Georgiev expected in net. This is Nathan McKinnon versus Connor McDavid. I'm looking for the goals today. I'm looking for both of these players to light the lamp. I also think those power play points are coming for Colorado. We know how strong they are on the power play. Both teams to score in the first period and the over 1.5. I'm also going to take this game over that total. If you really want to get risky, you can also take Edmonton on the puck line in the first period. This is where they come out so strong in a lot of these games, but so has Colorado. Would we be shocked if we had a 3-2 first period? Absolutely not, with defenses and goaltending letting down an offensive production on both sides. So I think we got a higher scoring battle in this one. I love both teams to score in the first period. And Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, you could parlay them for their points. Look at both of them for the anytime goals as well. Utah versus Vegas. I'm going to go against the trends here. Vegas has struggled to cover the puck line at home, not covering the puck line in their last 4. I think they get a big win over Utah today. I'm going to lay the 1.5 here with the Vegas Golden Knights on the puck line coming in at plus 152 the last time I checked. We've seen Utah just struggle as a dog. They've lost their last 7 games as a dog. They have been strong in that first period, though, especially versus the Pacific. In the first period versus the Pacific, they have won their last 5. So this could be a great opportunity because Vegas is so juiced on the money line. If Utah comes out with, like, Clayton Keller scoring first, and then we see that goal, and then we come back in on Vegas. So that's another thing I'll be looking at, is that money line bet once and if Utah goes up in this game, coming back in on the Vegas Golden Knights home in the Fortress. So you guys, that is the recap. Again, I am seeing all of your messages come in here about Mitch Wilson, and I want to say thank you for talking about him. He's surely going to be missed in this industry. If you don't know who Mitch Wilson was, he was the owner of Pick Dogs, and Mitch and I, we crossed paths in our lives. We haven't talked for a while now, and it's sad. It's so sad, and I feel for his wife, his friends, his family, and the sports betting community. So I send my deepest sympathies to him, and to his family, and to all of you that watch Mitch every single day here on YouTube, here on across all of the platforms. He will be greatly missed in the community, but you guys, I seriously can't talk about it more without tearing up here, and I don't want to do that. I'm gonna watch some college football. That's what Mitch would want us all to do. Let's get those bets in, you guys. We'll talk tomorrow.